Good afternoon. Welcome to the Friday weekly randomizer race. We're going to be getting started here in just one moment. We'll get the runners up and going. I am your host, Growl Wolf. Today, go ahead and get your guesses in for the first world. I'm going to go ahead and go with a World 4 start. Seems like we'll enter the big world and get a big race going underway. We are going to be running the brackets today. We have a little bit of a treat for you. We've got Teaks in the top left corner. We've got Human Mustard in the top right corner. And in the bottom left corner, we have Paradox. Now, we do have a little bit of an incentive here with these three runners. We do have a SG Live tournament coming up. We're going to be featuring the SMB3 Randomizer. Certainly, you'll want to be a part of that. You'll want to watch and definitely cheer on your favorite runners, cheer on your favorite levels, cheer on Bowser, as Autobit has already done in the chat. Cheer whatever you want on. Definitely be a part. It's going to be a really, really great time. That's coming up here in actually in about a month and a half. And which actually works very well, because for the month of October, what we're going to be doing is on the Saturday night runs. We have, of course, both the Friday that you are watching now and the Saturday night runs, which happens at 9 Eastern on one of the Speed Gaming channels. And what you're going to be wanting to watch for are how the players are doing and running. So there are going to be 5, because we do have 5 Saturdays in the month of October this year. And the part of that that's going to be very interesting is that all 5 of those races will be used for classifying and seeding any of the runners. So this is going to be a little bit of practice. It's brackets, so it's something very familiar to a lot of the viewers that have tuned in several times. And you're going to want to be a part of that. You're going to want to watch, cheer on your runners, cheer on your like I said, cheer on anything you want. Paragoombas, as the saltiest man in the world has described, is that Paragoombas are the real final boss, and that is not a lie. They are absolutely terrible and treacherous to try to get through. Absolutely terrible and terrifying when they come on the screen. It just makes me sad every time. So, so definitely be watching for that. But as I was saying, the 5 races in the month of October on the Saturday night race is going to be a qualifier. So the qualifier is going to place you in the different seed brackets, which will actually determine your start or the runner starts based on what they are, however they seed. So if you win one, you're automatically in the top 5. And then depending on how well you do with your times, will determine your seed after that. So minimum of 2 to qualify. So we fully expect those to be very well attended, and making sure that we have people where they need to be. And also, I would like to welcome you to join me. I am playing a game of bingo while I watch this today. You can play bingo while watching this race. You can play bingo as well. I just put the link in the chat. If you click on the bottom one, it's bingobaker.com. It's that link. It will generate a card for you, and as we go along, we'll try to mention some of those. I've got a couple of betas that I'm going to be having to look for on mine, but hopefully we'll see if we can get a beta or a bingo here before the end of the day. I apologize. Hopefully the commentary audio isn't too crackly. Maybe that's a little bit better. We'll see. We'll hope that that's not a problem. Excellent. Very good. So we currently have Human Mustard on a coin ship. Looks like he's going to be going for a couple of the items with the Hammer Bros right off the bat. That's not a terribly hard start. That's not a terribly bad idea, I should say. Paradox having just a little bit of a problem. He had an issue with a Fire Brother a little bit earlier. Was able to navigate around that big boss bass, and was able to prolong his life on this level, I should say. Teaks is currently working on 5.9, I do believe, and that's a very good start, or very good way for him to get through it. And the Human Mustard currently finding himself in one of the longest levels in the game in 5.3. Paradox trying to negotiate his way through some nippers and some standing piranha plants, and he was finally able to do so, but not without taking damage first. And Teeks is our first into the World 3 airship that we see here, but of course, because they did start in World 2, that is going to mean that Morton is at the end of this one. So we'll see if he's a super salty Morton. He is not a heavy Morton, and he's only a 2-shot Morton, so no big deal. World 2, 2 shots kind of goes along. And chat, that of course means go ahead and get your guesses in for the next world. I'm going to have to go with world... You know what? Let's go with World 3. We'll go 2, 3, and then maybe go from there. But go ahead and get your guesses into chat as to what the next world is. And we'll find out in just one moment, as Human Mustard is still going through his World 5 level. And Paradox is also taking the coin ship. Now, it's a little interesting. Sometimes you don't see the runners take the coin ships. But when you are playing at brackets, there's a very, very real chance that you just don't get enough items. Because the only places you can get them are in Hammer Brothers, in the Mushroom Suits, in the hand levels, and at the Princess levels, or the Princess letters afterwards. So, it's a little difficult. Item management certainly becomes a thing very, very quickly. And I was correct this time, thank goodness. And we just saw the hand level as well. Teeks deciding to go on the back side of this map. He does see a lock, but it's not going to be a factor. So now he plays 3-1 here. And we'll have to see how that plays out for him. He may be chasing a pipe that's not quite necessary yet. We will certainly find that out here in a moment. Routing is certainly an aspect of the game that you have to look for, as the route can actually cost you a lot of time. Somebody in our chat had actually written out almost a page long in Discord about what it could look like as far as the routes go. But definitely a good play, as we see Human Mustard making the same one. Those first 4 levels are just not conducive to doing something very well. Human Mustard looks like he's going to go back, though. I find that very interesting. We find one of the other hand levels. Of course, the item that Teeks got will also be the item that Human Mustard gets, as all 3 are the exact same. So if it's a Hammer Brother in one, it's a Hammer Brother in all 3. In this case, it's a Leaf. So they will be able to turn into Raccoon Mario and fly across the level, hopefully. Not quite. You still have to build up E-Speed, but yeah, nonetheless, it's possible. Human Mustard in one of our first beta levels. He's in the Ice Capades, as I like to call it. And he'll be able to showcase a very nice strategy to get through here pretty quickly. Missed that last block, but no big deal. A couple jumps in the water and avoiding the cheap means that he'll get through, but not before Paradox is able to get through the P-Speed and is able to clear that level just seconds behind Human Mustard. Very tight race so far. Teeks currently kind of going in a roundabout way, but what has actually worked very well for him is the fact that he is now right next to the pipe that will lead to Windy. The only question now, though, is did he miss something? Because there is a very real possibility that he has not broken the lock that goes in front of Windy, because we did see 2 fortresses, and I don't believe I've seen 2 locks yet. So we will have to wait and see. Human Mustard and Paradox may be playing the correct fortress here, but Teeks is almost at the castle. We'll see if it's required or not here in just a moment. It looks like the lock that was below has been destroyed. Yeah, so he is going to have to go back. Human Mustard and Paradox found out already what Teeks needs to know. I'm a little surprised at this. Human Mustard and Paradox are both going into 3-6, and they are going to play this level. Teeks is doing the exact same thing, but that's so that he can get onto the other side, because he hasn't played the first 2 where 3-1 and 3-2 normally would be. But I'm a little surprised that Teeks and Paradox playing this. I think they expect the fortress or the pipe directly below them to be the one that takes them where they need to go, and unfortunately, they're about to find out that's not correct. Paradox doing something a little unusual. That was a Hammer Brother right before Paradox finished that level, and for anybody that had the Nintendo Power back in the day, you would have found out that the SMB3, if in the SMB3 games, if you had a Hammer Brother on the map and then finished the level with the coin multiple of 11, so 11, 22, 33, etc. And if you had the exact time in the tens column that matched, you would have a coin chip appear, and that's exactly what happened to Paradox. He had a 70 for his score, and he had 77 coins, so he was able to get a coin chip out of that. Kind of interesting, a little bit of a waste of time in this regard, but still fun to see. So Teek's now able to get through the fortress. He is going to go straight back to the castle, so a little bit of a time loss having to go back to find that fortress. He will probably be thinking about that as he goes into this. Maybe see a little bit of a different strategy coming out of Teeks here. There's no way he can possibly know that he's in the lead at this point. So we're just going to have to wait and see if he plays a little bit riskier, thinking that he's behind. That is definitely a very real instance with this, with just being in the race. It's very difficult. You don't know where you are, and any of these runners could be ahead at any given point in time. And Human Muster is one of the top ranked players. Paradox won a tournament not long ago. So these guys are really, really sensational, and anybody could be in the lead right now, which of course at this point is Teeks, and we do know that. But all right, chapter 3, what is the world? I got to go with 4. I said 4 earlier. I got 3 that last time. I'm going to go with 4 here. We'll go 2, 3, 4, and go from there. But interestingly enough, Human Mustard actually found out something that Teeks did not know, and what that was is that Teeks, he actually went for a fire kill on Wendy, which was kind of unfortunate because Wendy was a one shot. So the fire kill actually took longer on Wendy than it would have been for jumping, which unfortunate was a little bit of a time loss. That is going to bridge the gap just a little bit between him and Human Mustard, and then of course Paradox right behind him. And with Teeks having to decide what he wanted to do there, with this you do have to have a tail to get to Boom Boom. This is 7F1, also known as Fort Knox. So we are going to be seeing the Tanuki suit come out. We'll see if we can get a command at the end of this world. We'll see if the runners can hold it long enough. But because Teeks had flown all the way to the right of the screen, then second-guessed himself and wasn't sure if he wanted to do that, and I'll explain what that was in just a moment, he did lose a little bit of time there too. So Teeks needs to start being a little bit more careful with where he loses his time. But of course, World 7 is still coming up. World 6 is still coming up. There's a lot of equalizers still coming. So Teeks may be in the lead now, but that doesn't matter until the very end of the game. Teeks finding a hammer, so that's very excellent. That will definitely come into play a little bit later. Great choices for all 3 runners playing 7F1 right off the bat. They saw the fort. They beat the fort that goes right to the castle. So they'll be looking for a very quick finish on this one. Just a couple levels to get there, but then they'll be done here in just a few minutes. But what that meant was a lot of times what runners will do in 7F1 Fort Knox is they will go ahead and race all the way to the right as quickly as possible, and Human Mustard there able to use the tail to his advantage to make sure he did not take a fall there. He missed a jump, but that's okay. He was able to float nicely down and finish it off. So very well done on Human Mustard's part. But a lot of times runners, in an effort to save time, they'll go ahead and race all the way to the right, jump in the lava, and then that's it. They'll jump in the lava, go back, take a tail, and then go back in. With Teeks already having a fire flower and not sure if he had a tail or not, he went ahead and jumped all the way, or he jumped up, got the P-Wing, and then took the Tanuki suit inside the level. So a little bit of a time difference, but it's just a couple seconds. And honestly, I like going ahead and playing the level, even though it's kind of a long one. It's definitely one of the longest fortresses in the game if you're Small Mario. It's unfortunate, but now you have a tail for later, so not a really bad thing. Human Mustard went ahead and played the level that Teeks hammered around, and that was actually a huge thing for Human Mustard because now he does have an extra for the next one. World 5, I think, coming up. We'll go ahead and just go into a world order, skipping World 1 so far. We'll find that out, of course, here in just a moment. It is not. I was wrong. World 1 did come up next. So Autobit, yes, there is one hammer suit that I recall, and that is, of course, in the level. It's in World 7. I want to say it's 7-8 that you get the one hammer suit. But in a randomizer, it's also very possible to get the hammer suit later. Although I think I'll have to go back and check on that, but I do believe there's a hammer suit you can actually get in your inventory. But I could be wrong about that, because I thought there was some Toadstool houses later in the game that had a Tanuki suit, a frog suit, or a hammer suit, so I don't remember. Mushroom house surrounded by a square. That is also possible. Maybe that's where I'm thinking it is. But Teeks, go ahead and play the first fortress. It makes a lot of sense. Obviously, you play the one in the route first. So he is currently working through 5F1. Teeks is working through 2F1. And we did get an orb here just a moment ago. Always fun to see. Paradox actually now able to take a little bit of an advantage over Human Mustard. So that's kind of interesting. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. I know they've been close, but we're going to get a couple of orbs. Teeks was, of course, the first to do it. Then Human Mustard and Paradox right behind. And they will both find out that this lock is not broken. Now, they do have hammers. So you might be thinking, well, why haven't they used a hammer yet on the lock? And the reason is the brackets does not allow that. We do not allow our runners to break a lock with a hammer in the brackets. In group 2 we will allow that, but we don't allow that here in the brackets. So the runners will have to go the honest route. They will have to destroy the fortress, which will allow them to carry on as the game intended. Now what will also help though is in worlds 2, 3, 4, and 6 there are rocks that could potentially change the route. Now, we've already seen 2, 3, and 4, and we weren't able to use hammers on any of those except Teeks did. He was able to use one to bypass a level, which actually gave a hammer. So, unfortunately, a little ironic, but, that's just the way it goes. You make a guess, and sometimes it's not always right. So, you got to, just play the game, get through it as quickly as possible. Human Mustard on 4-3. He's going to try to use a P-Speed strategy. Unfortunately, that is going to not... Well, so far so good. Hopefully he's able to continue that. Yeah, up until this point, if you don't have 2 enemies there that you can jump on, you do have to slow down there and let them kind of get out of the way for you. So Human Mustard had to stop there. Teeks and Paradox both onto the airship, which of course has Larry. And Paradox is going to be the first one to get out of here. A very beefy Larry, but that will spell the end of Chapter 4, which happened to be World 1 in our little story that we're telling here. Human Mustard trying to catch up. He's going to go ahead and take a star, take out the Boomerang Brother, and be on his way with a frog suit. Now, let's get our guesses in for World 5. I'm going to go with Vanilla World 5 here. But I think it's going to be a grudgy World 5. I think it's going to be hard. You're going to have to play a fortress on the left to build a bridge, and then go on the right side and play. So I'm going to be pulling for that. Okay, apparently I need to go back and do some research, because according to chat, there's a mushroom house in World 6 that has a hammer suit. And then, according to the internet, there are 5 hammer suits. I'd be interested to see if that was in the Japanese version, or if that was in fact in the American version as well. But either way, apparently I need to go back and figure out where the rest of the hammer suits are. Apparently I need to learn. But Mew Mew fan, there is only 1 C today. We're just doing a brackets run. But we are running brackets, and we'll be running brackets for the next month, most likely. So it's still a great time. We still give you all the randomization. There's just not a whole lot here that we don't randomize with a bracket. So, we'll be coming back to that. The reason for all the brackets is we are giving our runners a chance to get practiced and prepared, because SG Live is coming up in November. So during the month of October, we are going to be running brackets on Saturday nights as qualifiers. So this is the practice race. And then on Saturday nights, you have to run a minimum of 2. The, of course, maximum is 5, as there are 5 Saturdays in the month of October this year. And if you win one, you're automatically going to be at the top, in the top 5. And if you don't, if everybody else running, there's going to be 16 runners. The other 11 will be based on their times, and we'll average those out, and then whoever has the better averages, of course, will be seated higher, and so on and so forth. So definitely be a part of that. Cheer on your favorite runners, your commentators, whatever you'd prefer. You know, we definitely appreciate it. The runners, the commentators, we all love having you guys here. You know, we love doing this. We love that you guys love us doing this. So it's definitely a very appreciative part, having chat as a part of this. So definitely tune in, give us your support, and really appreciate that. And actually, in the time I gave that blurb, both Paradox and Teeks have found the Hitbox King in Ludwig von Koopa, who is a very vanilla Ludwig von Koopa, and that is going to spell the end. And actually, that is a near sync between Teeks and Paradox. Both are fighting hard to take this one home as a win. Human Mustard having just a little bit of an issue here. He's going to have to try to catch up as best he can. World 7 was super fast, so we still have 5 and 6, which both can be very grungy and very, very grindy in their respective aspects. So, got a long way to go. But, World 8's not done yet either. World 8 is a huge equalizer. Sometimes it can be very linear, so you just have to play through all the levels as it requires you to. World 5 can kind of be the same way. World 7, we've just gone through, and that was actually very quick. And then World 6, depending on where the pipes are, because the pipes are also randomized, could spell out a very long, World 6, or a very short one. We could see very close to the same. So I didn't exactly get the grungy World 5 that I was hoping for. But interesting. So now our players are going to have to go on a search for a lock-breaking fortress. In the game, there are 2 ways to get through an area, and that is either by defeating a fortress to build a bridge, or defeating a fortress to break a lock. And in this case, our runners are going to have to break a lock to get to the castle. Both Teeks and Paradox finishing up their fortresses here in just one moment. Human Mustard trying to get through his World 5 level here very quick. It's almost fitting. It's just on the wrong part of the level. And that was not the right fortress, but the other one is right next to it. So he will go back and take on that one as well. He's going to find 3F2. We'll see if he goes for a clip. He did not go for the clip. This would be home of the 3-door clip. Where if you are able to press up, as soon as you go through the door at the right frame, you go directly into Boom Boom's room. It doesn't know where to put you, so it shoves you in his room. Neither runners go for that. It's very risky. Very risky. The reward is okay. It's a few seconds. But if you think there's a possibility that you could be in the lead or fighting for the lead, which both of these runners are, you definitely don't go for that. So seeing Teeks and Paradox virtually doing the exact same thing. They both have to go through a coin ship here. Teeks threw it first, and then Paradox, of course, right behind him. They'll both be rewarded a star there. And Human Mustard trying to find out which fortress is correct as well. Looks like Teeks is going to say, you know what? I'm done with this world. I'm on to World 6. And we will be seeing that here in just about a minute. And what a skip that was. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the only 2 auto scrollers in the game that we've left. As you can tell, the airships we do not allow to auto scroll. We think it's a waste of time, and nobody wants to see that. It's a slow time, and it's a bad time. So we're going to go ahead and take off the auto scrollers of all of those. However, what we did not take the auto scroller off of is 5-9, which we currently see Paradox in, and everyone's favorite, Atlantis. Now, I'd be surprised if Human Mustard has a cloud here, if he does not use it, or if he does have a cloud and decides not to use it, watch for the early exit, which some will call the 100 coin fine, and then a cloud over to get directly to the coin ship. So now, everybody, we are moving to the frozen land of World 6, and we'll see if it's a fast one. This could be a great equalizer. All right, Human Mustard is taking that 100 coin fine that I just talked about. He will go ahead and exit the level early and use that cloud to his advantage. I think that's a very wise decision, as we just saw that Paradox and Teach are now very separated because of that 5-9 play that Paradox went ahead and did. So now Teeks is going through 7-4, and usually an auto-scroller as well, but not this time. He's just going to be able to utilize the Fire Flower to his advantage, and he'll be done with this in no time. Human Mustard using the Tanuki Suit. We're going to get a meme exit here from the castle, so that should be a good time. We'll get a command here in just one moment, as Roy goes down without so much of a fight. Teeks finishing up 7-4. Paradox now entering into the castle, or the throne room, and Human Mustard well on his way as well. Alright, Human Mustard gets the everyone's favorite command. A wild Tanuki appears. Command? Okay, interestingly enough, this looks like it's going to be a very quick World 6. Teeks has already played 7-4, which we currently see Paradox and now Human Mustard on. And Teeks is now in the Fortress of Solitude, and he is making this look easy, folks. That is a lot harder than it looks. Teeks is just that good. Seriously. Oh, unfortunate death from Paradox. You hate to see it. And it looks like that's why Paradox did not use a cloud on 5-9, is that he doesn't have one. It looks like he used that a little bit earlier to try to get caught up and get out of a world real quick. And wow, what a Jet World 6. Teeks is already through. He is now onto Lemmy's airship. Lemmy being at the end of it, of course. And that is going to spell the end of World 7. World 8 coming up next. Chat, the last game that we play with you all in this regard is the how many bridges does Bowser have? What that means is there are going to be forts that either break a lock, as we talked about previously, or they're going to build a bridge. And there's a possibility of 0 up to 3, I've been told. Now, I'll be honest, I haven't seen a 3 before where it was required. I've seen 3 bridges, but one was to the left of where you enter Bowser's Valley. So I'm going to go with an ever unpopular 2. I'm going to have to agree with Rowan on this one. I think 2 would be a very good one for our runners. I didn't exactly get the grungy World 5 that I wanted. World 6 was super quick, and World 7 was even faster. So I got to go with an 8. That's going to take them a little bit of time. They're going to have to figure it out. And no sub-30s here. Okay, interesting start to World 8. It looks like Teeks is opting to play a fortress right off the bat. I think that's a very wise decision. You see the fortress. With the icons, there is a possibility of 2 of them being only levels and not actually a fortress. So one of them being one of the tanks, and it's impossible to know which. And then I believe the Navy is the other one that could be just a regular level. No, I take that back. I think it's the Air Force. Regardless, so Teeks is able to blow through that fortress really quick. I did not expect him to go for World 1 or the number 1 level panel there. That's kind of a waste of time. If it's not necessary, you don't need to be playing it. I think the first fortress was a good move. I think that's a very smart decision. He's going to be playing a little recon here. He's found the dark room. He has 2 other levels where the hand levels usually would be. So he's going to go ahead and look at those, kind of get an idea, a feel of where he's going. Not a lot of locks yet. I haven't seen a lot of locks. We could potentially have up to 3 bridges in this point. Lucid, you still have a very good chance here. Okay, we have found the L, and we'll see if this is one that takes us to Bowser. It's a good possibility. It is not. So that is the first lock. I believe 3 is now off the table, but 2 is definitely still possible. So I think the answer is going to lie within the black room, the blind world, if you will. And looks like Teeks is going to go ahead and play a fortress here. Decided he wants to go ahead and play that, as he does have the fortress, as that will always be a fortress. So he's going to go ahead and get on through here. And yes, I have to agree with Oddabit in the chat here. World 8 is a heck of a maze this time. You love to see it. I do. I don't like a linear World 8. I think it's a waste of time and talent. Uh, I like the great equalizer. I want to see divergence. I want to see players make different choices. I want to see people get frustrated with World 8 because that's how I enjoy it. But anyway, I'm just a glutton for punishment, I believe. Paradox going after an item there, unfortunately did not find it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be the end of it. Teeks has found a World 3-4. Trying to make sure I get this all correct. I get that one in 3-5 a little backwards, but I do believe this is 3-5. No, 3-4. Sorry. This is 3-4. Teeks is able to get through that very quickly. Bowser is coming here soon. Folks, this game is all but over. Teeks has now just found Bowser's Castle. He does have the Hammer Brothers suit. We'll be watching for that. We'll see if he can get a couple clips in here and make a very nice spectacle of it. First, at the top of the escalator clip, he nails it. You'll love to see that. Teeks is able to get through here with the Man's clip. That's one that everybody expects to get. And a beautiful third clip in a row, folks. If you had a perfect Bowser run, this would be it. That's going to be the Hammer Brother kill in just one moment. I'm not sure we'll get the sub 30. Actually, we will not. The sub 30 would be super close. I think it's definitely possible, but very smooth. Mew Mew fan, unfortunately, we're just doing the one bracket seed today. But we do have another one tomorrow night, so definitely be here tomorrow for that. And everyone, go ahead and get your GGs out if you haven't already for Teeks. Very nicely done. In SRL, we have the official time for Teeks in first place with a time of 30 minutes, 19 seconds. Very well done. We will see if he is available here in just one moment for an interview. Meanwhile, Paradox and Human Mustard both trying to figure out what Teeks already knows, and that is, where in the world is Bowser? But Teeks with an excellent run. Human Mustard and Paradox both taking a unfortunate death here. Human Mustard, I think, was on purpose, though, as he was not really interested in playing a level he didn't need to play. So I think he's still in the hunt for Bowser. Still anybody's game. They still have to figure this out. Wildfire, I was actually trying to get that reference in somehow, but then I thought, maybe not. I don't know about that. But I am now joined in the commentator's booth with Teeks. What a game. GG.
Thank you so much.
I gotta say, I was definitely impressed by the clips at the very end. Very nicely done.
Yeah, I've been having a lot of luck with the Bowser's Castle clip in Randomizer lately. I don't know what it is that I'm doing in the, as I'm maneuvering through there. So being able to get two back to back, I must be doing something right with subpixels.
I should think so for sure. I mean, the king of clippage, I'm going to have to start calling you or something, because that was just absolutely fantastic. Very nicely done.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm really happy with how this seed turned out. And we managed to avoid the whole trifecta, 6-6, 7-5 in Atlantis. So that's already a really good seed in my book.
Well, I also have to throw in the fourth one there. I don't know if we call that the tetrafecta. I don't know. But you did also manage to skip 5-9 in World 5 right before the castle where the level 8 one was. And actually where 5-9 usually would be, you were able to skip that with a cloud.
Oh, I didn't even realize. Oh, I must have really lucked out then.
You did. I was watching. I was like, okay, that's a little interesting. See who else does it. And then Paradox right behind you. There was some sinkage there. And that was actually the biggest difference at that point is you went ahead and clouded it, didn't even worry about it. And then Paradox right behind you. He had to play it because he used the cloud a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I figured as part of my randomizer meta, I've gotten into the habit of just if ever I have one or two clouds, I'll usually burn them on my 6th world, whatever it happens to be, just to make sure that it ends up getting used before the end of the game. I mean, I already played World 4 or World 7 in any other place where, you really wouldn't have to worry about it too much. But in something like World 5, and there's only like one level panel left before the airship, I figured, no, that would probably be a good time.
Absolutely. Yeah, that definitely made a lot of sense. I mean, World 7 was a huge jet, and then World 6 was right behind it. I mean, they were both very quick. I think you played a level and a fort in both of those. And no, I think that's a very good decision.
Yeah, for World 6, I was surprised I didn't even have to break the rock to get to the pipe behind it. I was just able to get to the first one that was there. And yeah, I think it was only just a level panel and then the fort right before the lock. And then that was pretty much it. I think I only had to play one level for World 7 as well.
Indeed. I mean, it was absolutely outstanding. And then I think there was a piranha there as well. I think that was the only difference there. But very well done.
Yeah, I tried surfing through my inventory to see if I had a music box, but I figured no, but I do have a star, so I could at least peace speed over those little piranha minis. And then for World 8, I think the biggest paradox I had was whether I should go through the level panel and try to play the Air Force. But I decided to take a gamble and see what else was in the pipe. So I think I only ended up playing the Navy and the fort. And I don't know if there was any bridges before Bowser's Castle, but whatever two I played, it at least opened up a path for me. So.
Yeah, we were watching for that. It was one bridge, so you already had it beat by the time you got there, and then of course level 2, the level 2 panel was sitting there. In World 4, did you hammer the rock to get around that level?
I did. Yeah, I used the pipe right in the beginning, and then it took me right to the start of World 4, so it was a pretty linear path. So I did have to play a bunch of level panels in the meantime. But since it was a bracket flag set, I wasn't really going to use my hammers for anything else. So I figured, better now than anytime.
Yeah, that was a little interesting to me actually, because you had used the hammer to get around that, and Human Mustard hadn't played the same hammer brother that you did to get the hammer. So he actually had to play the level, which ended up being tanks, and the reward at the end of it was a hammer.
Oh boy. You hate to see it.
Yeah, it kind of cracked me up a little bit. I think he was able to use that just a little bit later, but I don't remember why. Although I could be wrong. I'd have to go back and watch the VOD on that. But just a little comical. You use the hammer to get around it. He got a hammer in it.
So. Yeah, it's interesting because even with the whole bracket thing, I mean, there weren't really that many opportunities to use hammers in the first place, and it wasn't necessary for World 6, and I don't think that you really had any opportunities to do a double hammer, a double rock break in World 3 at that point, since it was pretty early on.
Yeah, with it being the second world, I don't remember seeing a hammer until yours being the first one. So, yeah, I mean, definitely with 2, 3, and 4 being at the very beginning, and then World 6 just didn't need it. It was actually pretty forgiving in that regard.
I see.
And actually, for the times, you came in at 30:19, and then Paradox just a couple minutes behind at 32:57, and Human Mustard in third with 33:39. I mean, just outstanding races by all three parts. I mean, that was from what I could tell, that was a pretty forgiving brackets, but very well played.
Yeah, Human Mustard and Paradox are really, really tough competitors. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how everything pans out with Speed Gaming Live next month.
Absolutely. We've been hyping it up today. People are definitely excited about it. I'm excited about it. Any thoughts about that?
Oh, yeah. I haven't had a chance to look at the rule set for that too much. As far as I know, there's going to be a lot of the bracket flex that's involved. So I'll try to make that my main focus for my practice session moving forward. But it looks like we have a pretty solid bracket so far. I think we have 16 people registered so far, with Makover being the most recent one. So Champ's got to defend his title,
Absolutely. The drama is definitely going to get real in that. Folks, go ahead and follow the runners as well if you liked what you saw. I know that all three of these, especially Teeks and Human Mustard, do a lot of randomizer. Paradox is going to be doing a lot of that as well, as he attempts to derust for that. So if you like what you saw here, definitely give our runners a follow if you haven't already. They put on a lot of really great and entertaining runs, and it's a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun watching these guys. I've been following these guys for a long time as well, so definitely do it. It's a lot of fun, and if you have any questions, definitely ask. I mean, I know Teeks, I'm kind of speaking for you guys here, but I personally love getting questions in chat just to kind of help break up the monotony of a randomizer run all the time.
Oh, absolutely. I totally hear you on that.
And laugh with us, cry with us. There's a little bit of all of that in Randomizer. It's just kind of how it goes sometimes. But with that, Teeks, do you have any final thoughts on the race? GG once again.
Thank you so much. Yeah, as you had mentioned before, this ended up being a pretty forgiving seed. I mean, there was probably like 3 or 4 worlds that you really didn't have to play more than 1 or 2 levels. So, I'm totally happy with averaging like low 30s on randomizer seeds like this. So, just in closing, GG, thank you again to Speed Gaming for hosting these randomizer weeklies, and thank you, Grell Wolf, for your commentary as well.
Always a pleasure. And folks, definitely be back here tomorrow. I don't know which channel we're on yet. We'll get that one here soon. But if you haven't already, definitely go give Speed Gaming 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all of them a follow. They are just great content all the time, any day, all day, every day. And we'll be on there tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. If it's one more than that, I'll have to Google up which time zone it would be. But anyway, definitely be back for that. That's going to be the first qualifier for SG Live coming up, like I said, next month. So definitely want to be a part of that. Go ahead and get your cheers in for the different runners. If there's one that you prefer, like Big Boss Bass, I hear he's going to be making an appearance as well. So definitely be around for that. You're going to want to not miss a thing. Seriously, it's going to get real, it's going to get fast, and it's going to get randomized. So definitely be a part of that. And Mew Fan asked me a question in chat. I'm going to have to get the date of that. Teeks, do you know offhand when the SG Live is starting?
I don't know the specific date, but as far as I know, it's going to be in the beginning of November.
Yeah, I might have to come back with that as well. But yeah, it is towards, I thought, the beginning to middle of November. We'll definitely get more times and dates and such for that. Oh, the qualifiers are going to be every Saturday night as part of our Randomizer 3 weekly race on Saturdays. That one tends to be a little bit more well attended. It's usually a chance for more people to get involved. So that will be at the regular time on Saturday night. That'll be on 9 p.m. Eastern on one of the Speed Gaming channels. So definitely be a part of that as well. So with that, we are going to go ahead and hop on off of here. On behalf of all of the runners, from Teeks, Human Mustard, Paradox, on behalf of the entire SMB3 randomizer community, for Speed Gaming, we want to give a special shout out again. We wouldn't be here, obviously, without them. Chat, special shout out to you. You guys make this a lot of fun. I love the back and forth in the chat while we're going through the run. It makes it a lot of fun for me as the commentator. Hopefully that makes it a lot of fun for you as the viewer. Definitely let us know if there's anything you want to see more of, less of. Big Boss Bass, we're trying to find a way to make it so he's on all the levels, or at least most of them or something. But we'll definitely try to get back on that. Until next time, this has been Grawwolf, and it's been my absolute pleasure. Until next time, keep running, keep racing, and keep randomizing. Take it easy.
Have a good night, everyone.